Welcome to New York 4 to 7, presented by Verizon. I'm your host, Chelsea Sherrod, and today we are joined by Dodgers beat writer for the Southern California newspaper group and author of LA Story, Shohei Ohtani, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and A Season for the Ages, Bill Plunkett. Let's see how many topics we will cover today. 7 topics for the 7 train. So for our first topic, Bill, the Mets and the Dodgers faced off just last week. New York mounted a big 3-run comeback in the 9th inning of Game 1, but couldn't capitalize in extra innings. Still, the Mets bounced back to win the next 2 games and take the series. So even though the Dodgers won Game 1 of the series, did the Mets rally and forcing LA to use all their bullpen play any effect in the rest of the series? What do you think?
Probably not. It was more the Mets pitching that did a great job. David Peterson, Kodai Senga, both kind of shut the Dodgers down the next 2 days. And as the Yankees found out, when the Dodgers offense gets rolling, it can do a lot of damage. So that was probably more of a factor. But the Dodgers bullpen is an ongoing issue. They've had injuries that have depleted it. They've had to use the bullpen way more than they'd like to.
What else stood out to you from the Dodgers' perspective in that series?
Well, the Peterson game, his start kind of stands out because they've had some issues with left-handed pitching. They haven't got going against lefties as much as you would think with the lineup that has Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, and Mookie Betts, all 3 right-handed hitters. And then yesterday they had the same problem with Ryan Yarbrough from the Yankees. So that was something that we walked away from New York thinking about.
You just mentioned the Yankees. So the Dodgers are coming off a series against the Yankees where they won the first 2 games, including an 18-2 blowout before dropping Game 3. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were the first reigning MVPs in Major League history to homer in the first inning of a game on Friday. So Bill, how special is it seeing these 2 compete against each other?
Oh, it's always a big Hollywood moment when the Dodgers and Yankees play each other. Both of them star-laden rosters, former MVPs on both sides. And it wasn't even the full rosters. You didn't have Giancarlo Stanton, another former MVP with the Yankees, and the Dodgers were without Mookie Betts, another former MVP. But yeah, Dodgers, Yankees, because of the history, because of the resources of the franchises, always a big series.
Yeah, it was box office for sure. Whenever you see the 2 of them go head to head, you are definitely getting your money's worth. To topic 3. Shohei Ohtani continues to dominate the league and currently leads the NL in home runs. Bill, when you were writing your book, LA Story, about him, what stood out most to you about his first season with the Dodgers?
Well, first of all, he's an even better player than I realized. Only seeing him in person when the Dodgers and Angels played each other for those 6 years, I didn't see, the daily, didn't get to see him on a daily basis. He's just even better. And part of the reason he seemed to be a better player is he probably is. He's had 6 years in the big leagues now. Last year, he was only concentrating on hitting. And not to, denigrate the Angels, but the Dodgers have a much more sophisticated support system for him. Shohei is a guy who loves the metrics and the technology behind the game. And the Dodgers are certainly advanced beyond the Angels in that. So, yeah, he's an even better player than you could have imagined. And then you had to layer on the fact that he was doing his 50-50 season while rehabbing from Tommy John surgery, not a small thing, but he is remarkably focused on baseball with very little beyond that's on his radar, and he's off to this great start this year after having shoulder surgery in November. Admittedly, a much more minor procedure, but still, it's something that often robs hitters of power when they first come back. And it hasn't taken anything away from Shohei.
Yeah, which is even more incredible, the things that he's able to do, given that he really hasn't even been at 100% during his rehab. Juan Soto made a similar move this offseason, Bill, going from the Yankees to the Mets. Do you see any similarities between Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto's decision?
Other than that giant number that they both signed for in the end, they were very different free agencies. I really think so. With Juan Soto, I think everybody thought the Yankees were the big boys on the block and were going to be able to re-sign him, and he made the decision to leave. With Shohei, as soon as he hit the free agent market, I think everyone was pointing to the Dodgers. It just seemed like a marriage that was ordained to happen. It was actually the Dodgers' third pass at signing him when he came out of high school in Japan. They wanted to sign him as a pitcher. He stayed in Japan to prove that he could be a two-way player. When he came over from Japan to the United States, the Dodgers were right there trying to sign him. But the National League hadn't adopted the DH full-time yet, so he went to an American League team. So it was their third pass at signing him. The whole deferred money thing made it probably the most unique free agency in baseball history.
Yeah, I mean, these two guys are superstars, to say the least. But with that comes a lot of pressure, comes a lot of attention, a lot of eyes on these guys for whatever they do. So, Bill, how does Shohei Ohtani handle the pressure of being great so well? What do you think?
Oh, it's amazing the way he can rise to the occasion, even as something as silly as a bobblehead night. He's homered on 3 of his 4 bobblehead nights. He homered in the first spring training game each of his 2 years with the Dodgers. He homered in his first playoff game last fall. He really can rise to the moment. When he hit 40-40 last year, it was with a walk-off home run. When he hit 50-50, it was with that amazing game in Miami where he had 6 hits, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. So it's a singular focus. Shohei Ohtani wants to be the greatest baseball player ever. And that's all he thinks about. And everything he does is aimed towards that goal. He's not a guy who, we see out around LA. He and his wife showed up at a Lakers game during the offseason. That was big news because they were out in public. His fame is at such a level that it's difficult for him to do anything. So I think it's just the wife and a newborn baby, just a couple months old, and the dog. I think that's his life outside of baseball.
Yeah, I guess also too, just like you mentioned before, like that's what separates the good from the great is that the great are able to perform when the pressure is on. And yeah, I think that Shohei Ohtani just being a regular guy and us not seeing him kind of makes him feel like he's a mythical character. So when he does do these incredible things, they're even that much better. All right, so our fourth topic, Bill, the Dodgers have been dealing with a seemingly endless wave of injuries, especially on the pitching staff. Is there any sense from the organization as to why this is happening?
Yeah, they're pretty frustrated by it. And Andrew Friedman told us last year after the World Series that they were going to take a deep dive into it in the offseason and see if there were things that they could change. Spring training came around, and I asked him about that. I said, "What did you find?" He didn't tell us much. I don't think they found any answers. I think this is an industry-wide problem. For me, the basic issue is how pitchers are rewarded. They're rewarded based on metrics like velocity and spin rate. So if that's how they're rewarded, that's what they're going to do. They're trying on every pitch to light up the radar gun, to have the most extreme spin rates, to get attention, to get the big contracts. You do that, and then you layer on the pitch clock, which gives them less time to recover between these max effort pitches, you're going to have injuries. It's all around the league. The Dodgers, there's a couple reasons that they may have an increased number. Number one, they're not afraid to sign guys with injury histories. And of course, if you have the history, it's more likely to happen again. Perfect examples, Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. Both of them on the injured list right now. But the Dodgers feel like they have enough resources, money, a farm system that's one of the better ones in baseball, that they can absorb these things. And they also do not hesitate to put guys on the injured list for the slightest thing. It's an excuse almost to give a guy 2 weeks off, or to put him on the sidelines for a little while to keep that workload down for the full season. So you throw all these issues together and you end up with 15 pitchers on the IL currently.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually an interesting perspective because I was going to follow up and ask you, how are they adjusting their approach to managing the arms and the health as the season continues? Because, if they are choosing to put guys on the IL almost to give them a break, so to speak, or try to prevent these things from happening, I don't know how, long that approach can last.
It's, there's a certain arrogance to being the Dodgers, and they think games in June are not that important. Games in October are all that matter. So everything is weighed in the picture of how's it going to affect October. Most of these guys on the IL will be back before October. Then they can sort through the quantity and pick out the quality to take into the postseason.
Despite the injuries, Bill, the Dodgers are still managing to stay atop the NL West. How have they been able to stay afloat?
Yeah, mostly with offense. The pitching has not been great. They're not getting a lot of innings out of their starting pitchers, but the offense has been terrific. They've got two guys having MVP level seasons in Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Freddie's been remarkable. He's coming off a surgery of his own on his ankle that he injured last year. It's still not 100%. You can see it when he runs, the way he moves. And yet he's hitting, I think, 340 something right now, and he's just been terrific. The other thing, you kind of look into the numbers, and there's one thing that really jumps out for me. They lead the majors in hitting with runners in scoring position. In other words, when they get a chance to score, they're very good at cashing it in. Will Smith is having an all-star year, best hitter in baseball with runners in scoring position. Teoscar Hernandez right behind him. And now, recently, Max Muncy has got it going like he can. He didn't hit a home run for his first 100 plate appearances. Now he's got 3 over the weekend. So the lineup gets longer as guys like that start to get going. Hae-Sung Kim, a rookie that they signed out of Korea, has come up from the minor leagues and been a real spark. He's got great energy, tremendous speed, can play a couple positions. So the lineup gets even longer. And, early in the year, the bottom of the lineup wasn't doing much. So when Shohei and the top of the lineup got their hits, they weren't producing a whole lot of runs. Now the bottom of the lineup is getting on base. When it gets back around to those guys, they're doing some real damage.
Yeah, definitely doing damage, just like we said we saw with the Yankees over the weekend. To our sixth topic, the Mets and Dodgers meet again for a 4-game series. Bill, what are the key adjustments the Dodgers need to make this time around that Mets fans should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, it's that starting pitching. Can they get quality starts from the group that they have now? In New York, we only got 2 innings of Clayton Kershaw because of the rain delay on the first game. He's going to pitch one of these. It's only his 4th start of the year coming back from his own surgeries. We're going to see Dustin May. He's coming back from a second Tommy John, so he's been inconsistent. Tony Gonsolin wasn't great in New York. He's get another shot at the Mets during this series. So it's really about the starting pitching for the Dodgers. If they can get these guys to give them 5, 6 quality innings, it takes some of the pressure off of the bullpen, which is thoroughly depleted right now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now it's prediction time, Bill. How do you see this 4-game series playing out? Do you think that the Dodgers get some redemption? Do you think they split the series? Do you think the Mets take the series? What do you think?
Yeah, the Dodgers are really good at home. Everything seems to go better at home. Their pitching's better. Their hitting's better. So it's tough for a team to come in and win a series here. It doesn't happen often over the course of the season. So, yeah, I'd have to give the Dodgers the advantage coming, for the home field. The Mets, the key for the Mets is can they get those, good starts from their starting pitchers? Can Senga, Peterson, those guys, can they repeat what they did in New York?
All right, Bill's going with his home team. Thank you all so much for watching New York 4 to 7 presented by Verizon. For Bill Plunkett, I'm Chelsea Sherrod. We will see you soon.